The NBA Hall of Fame is a place for all-time greats. In order to get in, you must have had a career that changed the history of the NBA in some shape or form. And so, today, we're going to discuss 10 active NBA stars guaranteed to make the NBA Hall of Fame. So let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm Polish Boy. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I post daily NBA content. So now let's get into the video. As reference, I'm going to be using the Basketball Reference Hall of Fame probability and looking at the active list of NBA players and what they rank as their Hall of Fame probability. So clearly, the first player I'd like to mention is LeBron James. LeBron James could retire right now and easily be a top 4 player of all time. He has 3 NBA titles, 3 Finals MVPs, 4 regular season MVPs, and is a multiple time All-Star and All-NBA player. I don't think I need to explain why he should be in the Hall. He's been one of the most dominant players over the history of the NBA and has been the best player in the NBA for possibly the last 10 years. And so, the next player I'd like to mention is one of LeBron's former teammates, Dwyane Wade. People forget how dominant Dwyane Wade was back in the day. He used to have the nickname Flash. He never really had that great outside shot, but his ability to drive and slash to the rim took him to an all new level. He had probably one of the best finals performance in the history of the NBA, excluding Jordan's performances back in 2006. He's also won 2 other rings besides that in 2012 and 2013, and he is a 12-time All-Star and 8-time All-NBA player, and he is also guaranteed to make the Hall of Fame. The next player I'd like to mention is Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki is absolutely incredible. He revolutionized the NBA. He was a 7-footer that was able to step out and shoot threes. He's also in the top 10 in NBA all-time scoring and has an NBA championship, MVP, and a Finals MVP, which he earned in 2011 after knocking off the Big 3 in Miami Heat, and where he put up an all-time great Finals performance. He is definitely a Hall of Famer once he retires. The next player I'd like to mention is the first non-champion on this list, Chris Paul. Chris Paul has actually never been out of the second round of the playoffs, yet he is an all-time great point guard. He's a 9-time All-Star, a 7-time All-NBA first team or second team, and also has an All-NBA third team on that resume. But besides that, he also has 9 all-defensive teams. So he's been one of the best defenders in the NBA for the last decade. And also, besides that, he's one of the last pure point guards left in today's NBA and can compare to the likes of John Stockton or any other great passing point guard in leagues past as a great passer of the ball and floor general on the court. He is definitely worthy of making the Hall of Fame once he retires. The next player I'd like to mention is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is kind of like Dirk Nowitzki, but more athletic. He's 7 foot, can pull up from 30, like Stephen A likes to say, a former MVP, and this year was able to pick up a ring and Finals MVP. Although he was criticized for joining the Golden State Warriors this season, his performance in the finals definitely proved that he's at least a top 2 player in today's NBA and is on the verge of passing LeBron. He's also put up a 50-40-90 season and has multiple All-NBA teams and scoring titles. he is definitely in the Hall of Fame once he retires. So that's 5 gone. The next player I like to mention is potentially a surprise for some of you, Dwight Howard. People forget how great Dwight Howard was in Orlando. In his career, Dwight Howard has amassed 8 All-Star Games appearances. He's been on the All-NBA First Team 5 times and has 3 additional All-NBA teams besides that. He's also made 7 All-Defensive NBA teams, and he's also led the league in rebounding 5 times and blocks twice. He is an all-time great on the defensive end, and in terms of his offensive abilities in Orlando, he was a capable scorer who was able to put up numbers of around 18 to 22 points per game. He also won the Defensive Player of the Year for 3 consecutive years, and Basketball Reference has him at a 99.1% chance of making the Hall of Fame. So people like to remember the recent Dwight Howard, the Dwight Howard we saw in Houston, the dysfunctionality, but no one can doubt his talents, as he was able to lead an Orlando Magic team to the finals and getting past the Boston Celtics Big Three and a LeBron James led Cavs team with just Hedo Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis, and Jameer Nelson. He is an all-time great, like it or not. The next player I'd like to mention is Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony is one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. I believe by the time Carmelo ends his career, he quite possibly could be in top 10 in all-time scoring. But besides that, he's also made 10 All-Star Game appearances and 6 All-NBA teams. He is an elite scorer, and that should definitely be enough to get him to the Hall of Fame. He's also been good enough to be a part of 4 Olympic game rosters. So in terms of how the US national team rank him, they always believe he's amongst the top 12 to 15 players within the NBA, and that's been going on for over the last decade. So he is definitely worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. The next player I'd like to mention is now Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is definitely going to make the Hall of Fame. Stephen Curry is a 2-time MVP, and one of them being unanimous. He's also a 2-time NBA champ and has been a part of 4 All-NBA teams. He's also led the league in scoring and steals and has a 50-40-90 season. But besides all that, he's also revolutionized the game of basketball. He took the 3-point shot and elevated to an entirely new level, to the point now where we see every team trying to find stretch 4s, stretch 5s, or find players that can shoot the ball, or trying to copy the Golden State's brand of basketball. The way his impact on the NBA is definitely enough to garner him into the Hall of Fame alone, but his accolades with that make him a guaranteed Hall of Famer. The next player mentioned in this video is the reigning MVP, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's triple-double average for the entire season, that season alone, might be good enough just to make him in the Hall of Fame. He posted the most amount of triple-doubles in one year, 42. Like I said, that alone could get him in. But besides that, he's also is a 6-time All-Star, and he's a 6-time All-NBA player and a 2-time scoring champ. He's also made it to a finals before, and like I said, averaged the triple-double for an entire season. He is going to be in the history books for the rest of the NBA's history. So definitely Russell Westbrook is making the Hall of Fame. The last player I'd like to mention is a San Antonio Spur, Tony Parker. The last few years, Tony Parker has not been that great. He's kind of aged over the last few years, but his accolades can't be questioned over the entirety of his NBA career. He is a 4-time NBA champion and picked up 1 Finals MVP in 2007. He's also been a part of 6 NBA All-Star games and 4 All-NBA teams. He's also been a key contributor to the Spurs dynasty, and without Tony Parker, I don't think the Spurs could have been dominant for such a long stretch. With the combination of Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, that big three has revolutionized the NBA, and people are trying to copy what the San Antonio Spurs have done through the draft for many years. Finding international talent, scouting overseas, finding late picks, 20 to 30 range, that can turn into NBA stars. Yet, no one has been able to do it as well as the San Antonio Spurs, and no one has been able to find another Tony Parker, because it's not every day we come across a Hall of Famer. So, there you go, guys. Those are 10 NBA players that, if they retire today, they would make the Hall of Fame. They are guaranteed to make the Hall. So, do you think that I missed someone on this list? Do you think someone else should be included? Let me know in the comments section down below, and see you guys again later.